So chapter 3, Skanda 1 talks about the various avatars of the Lord. Sutta initially he starts Jagrihe Paurusham Ropam Bhagavan Mahadadivihi Sambhutam Shodashakalam Madhav Lokasi Sikshaya. Sutta he says that at the beginning of the creation, the Lord was nothing but he was that ultimate Purusha. Purusha in the Purusha Sutta, just as it is described. Similarly, here, Purusha he had all the 16 components. What are the 16 components? Sense organs, Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, in all 10. Then the 5 elements, Panchabhutas, and the mind. Consisting of all this, they are in all 10. And all this constituted of that one Mahatattva. Mahatattvam is intellect. So the Lord who was there, he had only one form, that one ultimate Purusha who is there. And that's when this Purusha during the Yoga Nidra, Purusha form of Vishnu, is during his Yoga Nidra, from his navel Nabhi Kamalam, Brahma comes out. That's when the process of creation slowly starts in. And this form of the Lord who was there, this the Purusha form, it was totally pure Tattva form. There's no flaws, nothing in it. That's when slowly it seems that the yogis, how they saw this form, verse number 3. Yasya vayava samsthanaihi kalpito loka vistaraha tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattvam pashyantyado rupamada prachakshusha sahasrapado bhujananadbhutam. Same description is given in the Purusha Sukta. Sahasra Shirisha, Purushaha, Sahasrakshas, Sahasrapad. Everything was 1,000 feet, 1,000 thighs, 1,000 arms, faces, and so on. And everything was 1,000 heads. You see, even the earrings, everything that the Lord was wearing, 1,000 forms of the Lord were being seen by avatars. This form of the Lord was popularly called as Narayana, and it is a root of various avatars that have taken place in this world. And also, it is you can say, the base of various rishis, like the Sapta rishis who are there, Marichi, Yatri, and so on. So, and even of Brahma. Brahma who has come from the Nabhikamalam, from the navel part of Lord Vishnu. Now further the various avatars start. Sa eva prathamam, verse number 6. Now this order that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam can differ from few other texts that are there. Of course the avatars remain the same, but few ups and downs can come. First avataram of the Lord is he manifested as a Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanandana, the 4 brothers who were there, and he observed celibacy. Celibacy, they were all Brahmanas who were there, so they were totally in the path of Brahmacharya Ashrama. Next avataram, second avataram, Vara avataram, wherein he lifted Bhumi Devi who had gone to Patal Lokam. After this was being done, so that the process of creation can move about smoothly. If earth herself is down inside Patala, how will the creation take place, right? Therefore, Bhumi Devi was rescued by the Lord in the form of Varaha. Further, Narada. Narada is also an avataram of the Lord as per Srimad Bhagavatam. Next verse, next avataram was of Narada as a rishi, wherein to the Vaishnavas, that is to the devotees of Vishnu, a text called Pancharatram, you can call, that was being taught by Narada and this avataram. The very famous Narada Pancharatram. Has anyone heard about it? No? Okay. Very, very famous text. Uh-huh. Pancharatram. That is different. Pancharatram is a text. You can also call it as Mancharatras. They're all philosophies which are told by Narada. Sometime I'll tell you an introduction to it. And yes, yes. That is true. That, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you about this. Next avataram, the fourth avataram, wherein he was born as Murti. Who is Murti? Murti is Dharma Bhagwan's better half, or you can consider the partner. That is the fourth avataram of Vishnu. Then further he appeared in the form of sages Nara and Narayana, Krishna and Arjuna, as we tell them. Even today it is believed that Nara Narayana are there in Badrikashrama, wherein Narayana gives the Upadesham of the Ashtakshara mantra, starting with Pranavam Om Namo Narayanaya. This mantra Upadesham was given by sage Narayana to Nara in Badrikashram. Today is Badrinath Dham. That's the reason you go to Badrinath Dham till date, you should do some nama that is being chanted. Any nama of the Lord, you sit there, you meditate upon the Lord and chant. Naranarayana avataram was done. Next is the fifth avataram which was there was now this the fourth avataram itself is Dharma's better half, you can say wife, Murti, and the sages Nara and Narayana. Fifth avataram is Kapila Bhagavan. Kapila Bhagavan who gives the Sankhya philosophy. Now this Sankhya Shastram, this is different from Sankhya Yoga of Gita. Many people feel it is one and the same. It is not so. It is different. Then the sixth avataram that is there is Dattatreya Bhagavan, son of Atri and Anasuya. Now, Dattatreya stories that are there, Dattatreya is said to have taught about the reality of life and so on to various kings like Prahlada, Alarka, and so on. Further, seventh manifestation, he was born to Akuti, and he was born as Yajna, the form of sacrifice. So that was his seventh avataram of the Lord, wherein he was present in the kingdom of Indra, the then Indra, during the first Manvantara, and he was taken over by Swayambhuva Manu. Further, the eighth avataram was Rishabhadeva, who was born out of Meru Devi. Who's Meru Devi? Meru Devi is a wife of a king called Nabi. Then the ninth avataram that was there, Prithu Chakravarti avataram, wherein he was responsible for milking Prithvi Devi, wherein Prithvi Devi, earth was moving about in the form of a cow, just as a cow gives milk and all the nutrients are used for our well-being. Similarly, Prithu Chakravarti, he milked Mother Earth in the form of a cow, and that's how earth became fertile again, a lot of crops started growing and so on. It was very, it made the world, especially Bhulokam, very prosperous after this avatar. Next is at the end of a Manvantaram called Chakshusha Manvantaram. Chakshusha, can say Chakshusha Manvantaram, when it was Pralaya Kalam, all the worlds were being underwater, that's when Matsyavataram took place. So, though in the Dashavataram list, Matsyavataram comes first, Matsyavataram actually takes place later. So, Matsyavataram, the Lord took the form of a Matsya during the 10th Avataram actually, and the future Vaivaswata Manu who was there, he was rescued by the Lord, and that's how in a boat also the Lord helped them cross over the ocean, and the four Vedas, the three Vedas especially, they were being taught to the Saptarishis and the king. 11th avatara of the Lord is the Lord assumed the form of Kurma when the Samudra Mathanam took place. 12th avataram, the form of Dhanvantari Bhagavan, wherein the Lord comes out with nectar. 13th avataram, Mohini Avataram, wherein she stops the demons. She gives a nectar to Amritam to the Lord and to all gods, and the demons were stopped from having that. 14th Avataram, Narasimha Avataram. 15th Avataram, Vamana Avataram. 16th, Parashurama Avataram. 17th is Vyasa Avataram. He was born to Satyavati through the sage Parashara, and he was known for Vamana Avatar. Vamana Avatar. 16th avataram Parashurama avataram, 17th is Vyasa avataram, wherein mainly Veda Vyasa, this name that comes, he was born to Satyavati through Parashara and mainly known for compiling the Vedas. The Vedas were a huge chunk. The division of the Vedas into Rig, Yajus, Sama, that was done by Veda Vyasa. 18th avataram Rama avataram, 19th avataram, 19th and 20th, 19th Balarama avataram, 20th Krishna avataram. Till here it is described, or it was already done. What will happen in future, that is described in verse number 24-25. Tadaf kalau sampravritte sammohaya suradvisham buddho namna janasutah kikateshu bhavishyati ataso yuga sandhyayam dasya prayeshu rajaso janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpatihi. Further, when Kali age starts in, the Lord will be born in Magadha. Magadha, which is in today's Bihar. You can consider Uttara Bihar, North Bihar as Buddha. And further towards the end of the Kali Yuga, when most of the kings also they will turn into robbers and so on, the Lord will take an avataram as Kalki avataram. He will be born through a Brahmana called Vishnu Yasha. Vishnu Yasha as Bhagavan Kalki. So these two avatars are remaining. Now, though all these avatars are mentioned, still avatara hya sankhyeya hare sattva nirvijaha yata vidasinah kulyaha sasyasya sahasrashaha. Verse number 26. Just as many rivulets, small, you see a river or a water body, there will be small streams or so that are continuously flowing, right? Similarly, the avatars of the Lord are innumerous. The main avatars have been told, but in many forms the Lord comes and he tries to save. Like there are so many stories of devotees who see the form of the Lord, or so the Lord comes to save them and so on. Like say you say Panduranga and so on. So like this, when the Lord comes, or to help Bhattatri, Lord Krishna himself gave his guidelines, gave him darshana and so on. So like this, there are many places wherein the Lord manifests. The sages, various demigods also, they also are actually considered to be the form of Lord Hari only. However, there are some avatars, like say for example, Krishna avataram also is a Purna avataram, a full avataram that takes place, Rama avataram, Krishna avataram. But there are some half manifestations of the Lord also, like say Adi Shankaracharya also is a part manifestation of, or Hanuman, of Lord Shiva. So like this, there are half avatars also which are taken place. Now this जन्मगुह्यं भगवतो य एतत्प्रयतो नरः सायं प्रातः गृह्णन् भक्त्या दुःखग्रामात् विमुच्यते. One who reads the stories of the avatars of the Lord will be free from all kinds of sufferings. Right? Now, all these various avatars that are there, they are actually due to the Maya of the Lord, but it ultimately helps devotees like us. It removes the ignorance that is there in the form of dust in front of our eyes. All the dust goes away, the Lord enlightens us. And ultimately, at one point of time, after studying all these avatars also, the purpose of every avatar at the end remains the same: establishment of dharma, ensuring that devotees develop bhakti towards the Lord, and so on. And ultimately, the jiva, that is there, the atma inside all of us, should meet with the ultimate Brahman, that is to know the knowledge of reality. This is the purpose of every avataram. So the stories will be different, leelas will be different, but the purpose remains the same, which slowly bhaktas, devotees like us will come to know. And the Lord, the purpose of these avatars is like a guide for us to be on the right path. Now, Sava idam Vishwamamoga Leelaha, verse number 36 onwards, the pastimes or the Leelas of the Lord, they are always having some purpose behind the every. It's like say for example Krishna avataram also, he stole butter also. Even stealing butter is actually compared that he stole the mind of all of us, pushed us in the path of bhakti. So like this, just one example. Like this, there are many. So therefore, anything which the Lord speaks, any small avataram that the Lord does, that has got some purpose. And the Lord who is there, he can he can be very smooth also. Like all this description starts from 36 onwards. He can be very smooth and gentle like the lotus flower. At the same time, if there is some evil that is there, with the Sudarshana chakra he can cut off. And one who develops constant bhakti and love towards Lord Krishna, they will be free from the cycle of birth and death that is there. And further, Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. Vedavyasa, he composed this Purana called Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered to be at par with the Vedas. It contains the stories of the Lord. Vedavyasa, he taught this great Purana to his son Shukabrahma, and is like the you can say the cream of the Vedas, just as Gita Gita Mahatmyam, you have a shloka, right? Sarvopaniषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता dugdam गीतामृतं महत्. Similarly, here also the cream, or you can say the topmost part of the Vedas, essence of the Vedas, is considered the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now that which people like Shuka, he told this Purana from Vyasacharya, he told Shuka, Shuka told this to Parikshit. Parikshit, who sat on the banks of the Ganga by other sages who were surrounded, the last 7 days of his life he spent listening to this. Now that Bhagavan Krishna has left for his abode, Krishna Avataram has come to an end. This great Purana that is there is like a sun or like a guide for all of us to remove the darkness of ignorance. And further, what happens is, as this Purana was being told by Shuka, there were many other sages also who were present there. And the Sutta, he says, I was also present. As I have learned this, the same way I will continue telling you about the same. With this, chapter 3 comes to an end. Further, now Veda Vyasa, he gets frustrated. Even after composing so many Puranas, compiling the Vedas also, still there was a lot of frustration. What is that frustration? That is described in chapter number 4.